All right, weekly poster roundup for the week of July 29th. We're going to be reviewing some of the newest posters. Not that many particularly high-profile movies this week, but, a lot of interesting stuff to look at. We're going to start with Weekend in Taipei. I like the color scheme in this poster. It's got this pink background, which I think is not too common that I've seen. I like the pink with the white text. I feel like that's kind of cool. I like the text in general. This sort of typeface for the logo, it being slightly italicized, kind of gives a bit of movement to the text, especially. I don't know if you can see here, but that W seems like it just kind of swooshed in to the middle of the poster there. So it's got some inherent movement into the title, which then translates to those cars in the background. It's still somewhat generic. We still have just a bunch of characters sort of posing. But what I do like about the implementation here is that it's sort of concentrated into this one vertical line, and that is pretty cool. Kind of like how this building here sort of points to from the creators of Taken and Transporter. Maybe too much protagonism for that text, I'm sure you guys would agree. That seems like kind of big. Nevertheless, for what it is, for the kind of it's still a commercial poster. It's not artistic particularly. I think it's pretty good. I imagine it'll be like a mid to low B when all is said and done. Subservience, Megan Fox. I like this one. I think that this is pretty cool. This is pretty creepy. I imagine this is a horror poster because her contact lenses there are just kind of creepy. I like sort of the orientation of this poster. I like the diagonal lines that we see here. She has this red to kind of warm color to cool color gradient on her face. We have a lot of negative space at the top that forms a nice little triangle. I think that just structurally it's a really cool poster. I don't mind at all this type that they decided to use. The type itself, just with the spacing of the letters, it reminds you of maybe sci-fi. So I think that might be like a sci-fi horror film. I think my only qualm here is that we're left with all this space at the bottom that's underutilized. It's just these arms, there's nothing really worth looking at down there. I imagine what probably happened is that they wanted to put the text here at the bottom, but these arms kind of clash a bit with the white text, so they decided to put the white text on her chestal area so that it's more legible. And I think that's fine, but then we're left with this really awkward space at the bottom. Maybe if the body gradient had gone rather from red to cool, it would have been just from red to black maybe, and then we could have used that black area to highlight the title and the actress. So that's probably my only real qualm. I think for what it does, I think it's perfectly serviceable. I think it's probably a higher B. All right, Spellbound. It looks a lot like the Onward poster. Is it just me? It's it's got the same color scheme, the really stylized type. I don't know. Not for me. Honestly, I've realized that animated films tend to have really lazy posters, and I don't know if it's just because they never try to go for anything artistic because their target audience are kids who won't appreciate something artistic. I think this is a C. There's nothing too wrong with it. I guess I like all this, negative space with the, showing the stars, but I don't know. Nothing particularly creative for me. I think it's my least favorite of these posters so far, so that's why it gets a C. All right, Slingshot. For starters, I don't often like these posters where we get these overarching heads. It's a bit of a poster cliche, so it's not really for me. I think that this is kind of cool. The rocket shooting up, dividing the title into two, Slingshot. I think they could have done maybe a bit more with that. I think just in general, just conceptually, it's not my favorite poster, specifically because of these floating heads here. I like how the tagline here is written. I think that that's cool in between the two faces. There's a lot of symmetry in this poster, so that's something that I appreciate about it. I have this one qualm with posters, which is when the names of the actors don't correspond with their positioning on the poster. Do you guys ever get that? Where Lawrence Fishburne is on the left there, but on the right down there. I'm gonna go ahead and put that in C as well. All right, the silent hour. I mean, yet again, a bit of a generic concept. We've seen the glass cracking before and the shattered glass dividing characters. Like, it's a bit of a cliche at this point. I don't know, I think that the execution's pretty decent. The fact that it is a bullet shot, it's kind of on theme. We got the guns. Like, we know exactly what kind of movie this is going to be just by looking at it. I think the spacing's pretty solid. This is like your standard action movie poster. It knows what it's doing, it knows how to do it well, it knows how to make it look consistent, with the blue and white text being pretty consistent throughout the poster. And I do like how the type here has white and the light blue shades. I actually really like this type that they use. I think that that's pretty cool. So overall, I think like this is like, it's generic, but it's effective and it knows what it's going for, even if it's not going for anything particularly ambitious. I'm gonna put it in high C just because it's just more generic than the Weekend in Taipei one. All right, Rob Peace. I don't like this one at all. This one's just really corny to me. I hate these floating heads. This poster just screams Oscar bait. You know what I mean? I don't like it when characters, unless it seems for like a very specific artistic purpose, I kind of hate when characters are repeated. So we get both Jay Will and Chiwetel Ejiofor down there in the lower half. Yeah, this is very, very generic stuff. I mean, it has this one unifying sort of color scheme: tan, light brown, dark brown colors. I get what they're going with, the sort of dichotomy between the big city on his right and the old country. I don't know, that's like seems like a rich person's house, a mansion on his left. I guess that's like that's something. I like to reserve D's for eyesores, and this is like a bit of an eyesore. This one kind of like just makes me cringe a little bit because it's just so corny. I might be being a bit too harsh with the D. I think maybe like a low C. So that one seemed to be directed by Chiwetel Ejiofor, who also acts in the movie. And here we get another actor turned director in Jay Baruchel, who also acts in his movie. But this is a way cooler poster. I quite like this. It seems like it's a still from the movie, but we get these dead bodies. We get this central character, and he's like really nicely framed here. I like the tagline there. I kind of like the way that the credits are sort of sprawled across this shape. I think that's pretty cool. Normally we always see credits just kind of in a block shape. I really like the lighting on him as well. We have like this key lighting that's like light blue, but we also get these shadows which are in red. I don't know if it's like a between a high B or a low A. I think it's like an A, because I don't have anything really negative to say about it. Out come the wolves. All right, so they've gone with this sort of pale green vibe, with the exception of the central character who's in red. It's a little generic. We get our lead action actress kind of just in the middle. See, I like the wolves that seem like they're kind of painted on, but then she's just a photo, and I kind of wish that she wasn't a photo. These credits are kind of impossible to read. You know what I mean? Those credits are kind of ugly, and I feel like they just take up way too much space. They're covering her blue jeans a little bit. They're just a little bit weird there. I don't think it's egregious or anything. I think it's a C. It's not original. It's not particularly ambitious or creative. It doesn't do too much wrong, but, you know, there's only so much I can do to praise it, really. All right, My Old Ass. Okay, so we often get in these sort of comedies, especially indie comedies, we get like the yellow and the white. It's very common sort of color scheme for text. And they're in blue. I don't know why they went with this like tan colored bed. Maybe if the background, if you know their bed were red or orange, I don't know, just something a bit more interesting. It just seems kind of off. I feel like this type is also kind of generic. Seems like just something that you would pull up in a Word document, you know? I get the concept where we want all the text to just divide these two characters. We'll see why they're divided, if maybe that's thematically relevant to the movie. Like, this is fine, just I feel like it lacks a bit in execution. I think it's like a bit less generic than the ones that we have in C right now. So maybe I'll put it as like a low B. This concept with the execution of the silent hour, like then we're looking at high B, territory. All right, greedy people. Just in general, the sort of green color scheme, it has obviously to do with money. I don't love the way that they replace every S with a dollar sign. I feel like it's excessive, right? It's just kind of corny. Oh, but look, they decided not to do that for in theaters. In general, the color scheme, it is nice. It's well executed in that sense. We have the green trees in the background. We get this sort of military green in their outfits. And we get the green money in the foreground. So that's pretty cool. Then we have this intrigue element right here in the middle, which is like it's out of focus, but that's sort of the point that you kind of discover it the more you look at the poster. I think all of that's pretty cool. It's not particularly ambitious, but again, I think that the execution's pretty good. I think I'm going to put it here just above Weekend in Taipei. I think this one maybe goes slightly above it because it had one concept and they seem to do a lot both in the photography and in the Photoshop and the design process to execute that proposition. Whereas in Weekend in Taipei, it was just all design work and there wasn't really that extra thought put into it, I feel. All right, now we're getting to something really cool here. We get the crow again, and we've gotten a crow poster every week for the last 4 weeks. I'm progressively liking these crow posters more and more. Oh. Somebody died. I feel like they're getting increasingly more ambitious. It's a really cool idea. It's well done. I like how here in the negative space, the lower third, we get the title, all nicely proportioned over there. And we just have a ton of crows just, flying in the shape of Skarsgård. So don't have anything negative to say about it. I like how it's on this kind of plain, solid gray background. And I'm pretty impressed how they did the eye here. Wow. It's just really cool. It's very good. It's a high A. I don't know if it's quite an S. It could be an S. As far as I'm concerned, this is the best poster we've seen this week. Anora. This is the Palme d'Or winner from this year by Sean Baker. I'm really excited to see this movie. It's a movie that seems to have a lot of partying and it's like a night out. It's got movement. It's not perfectly clear. See how his face is blurry there. It's kind of chaotic and it seems like that's the point of the movie. But then we have the fireworks in the background and we get this really odd low angle shot here. We get this text, which is pretty cool. I don't know. Yeah, it's got these kind of wavy lines in the background that sort of give texture to this neon title. We've seen a lot of posters that are just kind of stills with just some text on it, and it is an art to try and make that seem appealing and look interesting. And I feel like this is just very classy. This is a low A, high B territory. I think it's a low A. Like and subscribe. Let me know what you think of the posters that we've looked at today, and I'll see you next week.